Now, the Bet HaLevi starts off the following. He says there are certain things that are going to destroy your bitachon. Here we see, first and foremost, a rule among all learners of Torah, all teachers of Torah, all considered Talmidei Chachamim. Why Talmidei Chachamim? Because they're learners of Torah. First rule is the things to avoid. Before we tell you all the things to do, the little tricks, you're going to get this easy one, and that easy one, and that easy one, and that easy one. There's a bunch of different sgulot, different things that you can do, different training that you can do to get great, extraordinary reward in heaven. Some stuff is so easy to do, it's mamash chaval, people don't do it. It's a complete waste, people don't do it. You can do certain things that can give yourself an abundance of good. But you see, most of the sages, if not all of them, don't start that way. None of the books start that way. What do they start off with? This is the stuff to avoid. Why? Because even if you do all of the little tricks, all the little sgulot, all of the little readings of Tehillim and the groups and all the wonderful things, like for example, there's a tzaddik, Rav Pinto, that Shichyeh, he implemented a few years ago a certain minhag that some Hasidim had in previous generations that became very popular in the last few years, which is to read the entire book of Dvarim, Sefer Dvarim, a book of Deuteronomy, like every Shabbat. Try to read it every Shabbat, the whole thing, or once a week, but to constantly read it over and over and over again. And many of his Hasidim took it on. Many of his Hasidim took it on because Sefer Dvarim has an extraordinary amount of musar. It's the one book that's actually written by Moshe Rabbeinu versus the other 4 books that are written by Hashem himself. But Hashem wanted Moshe Rabbeinu to include this 5th book. That's why in the first 4 books it says Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, that Hashem spoke to Moshe, whereas in the 5th book, in the book of Deuteronomy, it doesn't say that. It says Moshe talks in first person. Hashem said to me. Hashem said to me. Not Hashem told me. Hashem said to me. This is what I heard, and so on and so forth. So, there's a lot of musar to learn from there. Anyone that actually reads the book of Deuteronomy, Sefer Devarim, with commentary by Rashi at least, Rambam, and actually understands it, could do an extraordinary tshuva. The problem is that many people don't understand the actual minhag itself, don't understand what Rav Pinto actually is saying, where they think all they need to do is just read it. Like you read a journal, like you read a newspaper. Just read the words. With or without understanding stuff. Just read it a million times. And it doesn't do the trick. Why? Because Torah is not it's not one of those things we just press the button and eventually something's going to work. There's a certain set of instructions. Of how to do certain things. So many people use this gula, but not much happens. None of the promises actually happen in their life. And they think that there's something wrong with this gula. No, there's nothing wrong with this gula. There's something wrong with them. They're just not doing it the right way. It's like, for example, somebody gave you a Formula 1 car. Formula 1 car could drive, 250 miles an hour. Won the last race, whatever they're called. Won the last race, could drive 250, 300 miles an hour. This thing is a beast. And you go in there thinking, wow, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And you start pressing the gas, nothing happens. Press the gas, nothing happens. This is a junk. Nothing. Start hitting the car, kicking the car, thought they cheated you. Start screaming and yelling, causing a scene. What a piece of junk. This is a lemon. And the guy says, hey, buddy, turn on the ignition. Turn on the ignition. All the gas pedals and the shifts and everything, it doesn't work unless you do it right. First, turn on the ignition. Then you can press the buttons and push to this and push to that. If you do certain things right, it'll work. If you don't, it's a waste of time. So the Chachamim constantly told us what to avoid first. Why? Because even if you do all the good things, all the things right, you press the gas pedal and you turn the wheel and you press this and you press that. If you didn't turn on the ignition, it's all worthless. If you didn't avoid all of the things that pretty much cut you off from the nation, cut your connection off from Hashem Yitbarach, none of this is going to work. If a person does not keep Shabbat, if a person does not keep the basics of connection between them and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this stuff won't work. Why? Because when a person violates major sins, Hashem doesn't put him on a list of, I owe him some good things. Some sins that a person makes, Hashem can say, I consider him my enemy. Even though he's my son and I love him, right now he's on the status of being my enemy. We see this at the end of Parashat Vayetchanan. Meshalem el sonav el panav le'avido. He pays his haters cash to their face. Meaning sometimes he'll even give them things that will make them think that they're doing okay, that they actually have a good relationship with Hashem. They have a brand new car, brand new house, brand new wife, brand new this, brand new that. Everything looks good. But in reality, behind the scenes, if they only knew that they're actually being punished. Sometimes Hashem gives a person a huge windfall of money as a punishment. Why? Because he knows that that money will destroy him. Before he had the money, he was just living a regular life. He was okay. Wife, kids, job, every day, woke up, put on his pants like everybody else, one leg at a time. Everything was going fine. He was happy-go-lucky. People ask him, so how you doing? He says, thank God. Keep Shabbat? No, but I thank God anyway. Why? Because what's wrong with thanking God? I love God. I just love God my own way. So everything was going fine. People say, you look happy. He goes, I am happy. I am happy. Really? You're really happy? Yeah, I'm really happy. He's happy in his own way too. And everything is going fine. Everything is going fine. All of a sudden, one day he gets a deal that changes his life. The equivalent of a lotto winning. He signs a deal with Boeing. He signs a deal with one of these Fortune 500 companies that immediately puts an extra $15, $20 million in his bank account. Money that he's never seen such money. He thinks, honey, we did it. We did it, honey. We finally made it. 18 months later, he's divorced. His kids hate him. And the client left him too. What happened? We did it 18 months ago. Yes, but during those 18 months, that windfall of money changed him. He started wanting things that he didn't want before he got the money. All of a sudden, he wanted 2 wives, or 3, and an occasional girlfriend too on the side. All of a sudden, he wanted to go to certain places for vacation. All of a sudden, he wanted to do certain things that he didn't even think about wanting before he had the money. In essence, Hashem gave him a gift, a windfall of money to destroy him. That's why, in Yalkut Yosef, it actually says on the over there, when you, as halacha is, when somebody loses money, they should thank Hashem. But when they make a lot of money, there's a machloket, there's a debate. Does he thank Hashem saying, Tova Metim, a special blessing, he's got a windfall of money, or no? Chachamim say, don't do anything. You want a lot of money, you got a lot of money in a short period of time, stay quiet. Don't even say extra thank you. Why? Maybe it's a punishment. Maybe it's a punishment. Now, obviously, if you're a righteous person, then most likely it's not. But how many of us can look in the mirror and say, yeah, for sure I'm righteous? Moshe Rabbeinu and me, we're twins. We're twins. We have the same villa.